All right, welcome back, guys. Happy Saturday morning. Let's get started. So, I recommend you guys watch the entire video. We have some good information all the way through to the end of this video. And you guys, I just wanted to bring this back real quick. You guys saw this last night. This would be our third article talking about a significant step coming forward, specifically Sunday. Okay, this had to do with the reforms, and it has to do with them, taking urgent like preparation type meetings or measures. It says from next Sunday, okay, so that they can get key steps going regarding the reforms. And you saw this yesterday. We read it yesterday. Now here's another unique one. It's kind of bizarre, but yet it has everything to do with the movement of money. Okay, this says the Minister of Commerce announces the launch of processing of the second batch of flour starting tomorrow, Sunday. Now, I've got some key highlights in here. Let's cover those real quick and then we'll read the article. The Minister of Trade announced the launch of the processing of the second share of flour for this year starting tomorrow, Sunday. Flour for the new ration. Their ration card is kind of like their EBT card that we would have in the United States for lower income parties and families. In blue, coordination is underway between the grain manufacturing and grain trading companies to release grain mixtures intended for mills in charge of producing the second share of flour that is distributed with the ration card items. Now, again, this starts tomorrow, Sunday. It clearly states tomorrow. And remember, guys, this has everything to do with budgeting and money and the timing of money, because they're offering a ton of flour to the lower income citizens of Iraq. So that's a budgeting item. When you're going to do large steps like that, it has to do with budgeting, the timing, and the movement of money. So just wanted to show this to you guys. You know what? We're not going to read it. You guys get it. We got a lot to cover here. I don't want to sit here and dwell on something that's not critical. But that's very unique. So now you've seen 4 articles showing you how new key steps are coming forward tomorrow, Sunday. Next week. Now, here's another thing I want you to think about. This article right here, when you look at the title, okay, it shows that they almost have like next week is a kind of a new beginning period for Iraq. In this article, they're suggesting like a new period, a new beginning starts next week in this article, okay? So that's what I wanted to show you guys in this. Next week, new recommendations on the table of the Ministerial Council for the Economy. So it's like a new beginning for the economy next week, or starting next week. Kind of unique. Here's the article for you guys.
Next week, the Ministerial Council of Economy is looking forward to reviewing new recommendations to improve the business environment and developments in economic conditions. The media office of the Prime Minister, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, stated in a statement received by Baghdad Today that he presided over the 4th meeting of the Federation of Chambers of Commerce and the Association of Iraqi Banks, in the presence of the Governor of the Central Bank and government financial agencies and departments, taxes, customs, border crossings, and trade fairs. The statement indicated that the meeting witnessed a review of a number of recommendations related to improving the work environment, which will be presented next week to the Ministerial Council for Economy, deliberation on developments in the economic conditions in Iraq, follow-up on laws, recommendations, and directives issued, and the level of their implementation by the concerned institutions. In addition to reviewing the Electronic Declaration and Networking System project in detail, and discussing the directives that were implemented during the meeting chaired by the Prime Minister more than 10 days ago, with the team in charge of implementation, where he praised the project that will secure the work of border crossings and simplify the procedures that will be done electronically. It prevents fraud, and limits money laundering and customs evasion. The meeting also witnessed discussing what has been implemented regarding communication with importers of medical devices, and submitting proposals on facilitating procedures in terms of importing and manufacturing medicine, while the proposals included reducing customs tariffs for a number of raw materials for medicines and medical supplies, secondary packaging materials for medicines, and medical supplies, and machines, production lines, and laboratory and medical devices, with raising the customs tariff on imported medicines that are similar to what is produced locally. The meeting discussed the issue of joint operating contracts between private sector companies and the General Company for Iraqi Ports, and the most important steps that were taken in this regard, which included field visits to the company, and conducting the process of auditing the fees and wages that are charged.
So that article is suggesting almost like a new economic beginning next week. Parliamentary legal, 126 laws awaiting with the mercy of the political consensus. We don't need to read this article. You guys already know all this, but it basically says there are laws that have been politically disputed since 2007. Actually, guys, since 2005. Okay. The ones they mention have waited since 2005, specifically the oil and gas law. But my point is, how are they able to bring these old laws forward that have waited since 2005, 2007, whatever? It's because these laws were clearly waiting on the rate change. That's why they're coming forward now. These laws require Iraq's currency to be tradable and recognized around the world. Kurdish deputy reveals developments in the negotiations on the oil and gas law.
The representative of the Kurdistan Democratic Party, J. Tamer, revealed, on Saturday, the scenes and developments of the recent meetings and negotiations that took place between the federal government and the delegation of the Kurdistan Regional Government regarding the oil and gas law, the share of the region, and ending the outstanding differences. The legislation of the oil and gas law is part of the political agreement within the state administration coalition, and everyone is committed to passing it, Tamer said in an interview with Al Maluma agency. He added, "We hope, during the next stage, that long-term strategic agreements will be reached between the federal government and the regional government," pointing out that resolving disputes depends to a large extent on the legislation of the oil and gas law agreed upon within the state administration coalition, stressing that some controversial points have not been resolved and they need more time. The head of the Kurdistan Democratic Party bloc in parliament, Vian Sabri, had confirmed in a previous interview with Al Maluma that the dialogue between the delegation of the Kurdistan region and the federal government had progressed remarkably during the past days.
Just so you guys know, the part where it says in there, we hope during the next stage, that little phrase of during the next stage means the new period starting after the rate change, okay? That's why they use it. The Sonorous movement retires by announcing the rejection of the one district in the elections. This is not a critical article, guys. We are not going to read the entire article. They did have a session of parliament scheduled for last Thursday. Right now, they're having a very large regional delegation of people in their country right now. We're going to get into that more towards the end of the video. Okay? So you'll see that, and that's actually kind of a key piece to this that I want to share with you guys. It's kind of interesting. They invite a whole bunch of foreign yet regional dignitaries from their region, Arab, into their country for Saturday and Sunday, specifically this weekend. If they were to revalue the currency while having these foreign regional dignitaries in their country, it's a little bit of a celebration for them. Just something to think about. But back to this article. The Parliament's media department said in a short statement that the House of Representatives postponed its session again from last Thursday until this coming next Monday. Okay? Right here. Parliament Committee, the Iraqi Council of Ministers, determines the price of oil in the budget during its next session. And you guys already saw this yesterday morning. RPP kindly brought it to us, and it's where they just talk about how on next Tuesday morning of next week, they will be supposedly setting the price of oil in the 23 budget again next Tuesday morning. Okay. Construction of the most modern hydroelectric power station in Kurdistan region on the Great Zab River.
The Durluk Hydroelectric Power Project is one of the strategic projects of the Kurdistan Regional Government, which constitutes the most recent hydroelectric power station in the Kurdistan region, which generates electric power from water. The station is located in Durluk district in the Ahmadiyya district, and is being built on the Great Zab River, with a completion rate of 95% at a cost of $151 million, in addition to creating 50 job opportunities for citizens. Regarding the station's production capacity, the project's mechanical engineer, Skvan Shokat, told the Department of Information and Information, the station consists of 2 turbines, and its electricity production capacity is 37.2 megawatts. With regard to the station's current production, the director of the Durluk Hydroelectric Power Project, Hassan Youssef, told the Department of Information and Information, the station is currently operating and has production, but due to the shortage in the Greater Zab water, the daily production of the station does not exceed 7 megawatts of electric power. In addition to being one of the strategic projects, the Durluk station is classified as environmentally friendly and does not have any negative impact on the environment, in addition to its contribution to strengthening the electrical sector and voltage stability in the region.
Next article. The regional government announces reaching a preliminary agreement with Baghdad regarding the oil file, the oil and gas law. Here's the article for you guys. And you guys know you already saw this kind of coming through for this Sunday. They said next Sunday. That means this Sunday, tomorrow. Okay, here's the article.
On Friday, the Kurdistan regional government announced that it had reached a preliminary agreement with Baghdad regarding the oil file, while indicating that the talks would resume next Monday. The head of the Kurdistan regional government's representative in Baghdad, Ferzissa, said in a statement to the media affiliated with the presidency of the government, followed by NAS, February 24, 2023, that the delegation of the Kurdistan regional government will visit Baghdad on Monday, February 27, 2023, and will remain until the next day, Thursday, to continue the talks. Issa confirmed, the government delegation will meet with the Iraqi oil ministry, and a preliminary agreement has been reached regarding the oil and gas law, adding that the previous meetings were very positive and reached a solution.
And just so you guys know, the step of completing these laws is absolutely contingent upon the rate change. Now, that's why, again, I showed you guys an article. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to go right back to it. Hold on right here. These laws, they've been outstanding since 2007, and they've told you both 2005 and 2007. Okay, it says right here, including oil and gas law. The step of even completing that law, okay, completing it means getting it added to their constitution so it's valid. Okay, that step of completing the law, getting it on the constitution, requires Iraq to have a tradable currency. Now, with that said, right here, let's look at their steps. Now, I showed you guys an article yesterday where they said they would be resuming and working on this to draft the law on Sunday. Here they're saying they have some other key dates in here, guys, and it doesn't freaking matter. From one angle, they said Sunday. Here it says the delegation of the Kurdistan regional government will visit Baghdad on Monday, February 27th. So from one angle, they told you Sunday. From this angle, they're telling you Monday the 27th. Sunday the 26th, Monday the 27th, who cares? Okay, the 2 days are back to back. But I just showed you in print, this oil and gas law is clear. That's what this is about, is clearly waiting on the rate change. I just showed you that to you in print, proved it to you. So the Kurdistan regional government announced that it had reached a preliminary agreement with Baghdad regarding the oil file, while indicating that the talks would resume next Monday. Sunday, Monday, who cares? Either way, it has to be after the rate has changed. The head of the Kurdistan regional government's representative in Baghdad, okay, basically said that the delegation of the Kurdistan regional government will visit Baghdad specifically on Monday, February 27th, and will remain until the next day, which is Tuesday, the 28th. Okay, and then it says the government delegation will meet with the Iraqi oil ministry and preliminary agreement has reached regarding the oil and gas law, which I just showed you has been outstanding since 2005, 2007, whatever. But as you guys see, the fact that they're able to, in order to draft this law, that means get it added to the Constitution, okay? They have to have a tradable, recognized currency, and they're resuming this specifically. They gave you a date, Monday, February 27th, guys. In order for this to happen, the rate has to change over this weekend, flat out. Okay, that's what they're telling you. So if this article is true, they have to revalue the currency this weekend. This is a critical article for you guys right here. That's why I said watch the whole freaking video. Parliament is still waiting for the budget. 3 urgent requirements dependent on them.
The head of the National Approach Bloc, Ahmed Taha al-Rubai, called for the need to expedite sending the draft fiscal budget law for the year 2023 to the House of Representatives for the purpose of legislation. Al-Rubai said in an interview with Baghdad Today, "We are on the threshold of the month of March, and we are still waiting for the arrival of the budget to pass it because many service projects and programs related to the poor and others will be linked to the approval of the budget." He stressed the importance of the budget and must be passed, especially since last year did not witness the passage of the budget law, and therefore it has become necessary to send it for discussion and add what can be added with regard to segments of society or even the possibility of adding new job grades, as there are great benefits for graduates and citizens that must be obtained. Al-Rubai added, "This year's budget will include many projects for the provinces, especially Basra, which can be allocated a budget that can complete previous projects in it and add projects for the secretions that were previously distributed." It is noteworthy that the Prime Minister, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, announced during his attendance at the meeting of the International Management Coalition on February 20 that there is significant progress in completing the draft federal budget law and it is about to be presented to the House of Representatives for a vote. The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Mohsen al-Mundalai, announced on the same day that the budget will reach the House of Representatives next week.
The governor of the Central Bank of Iraq receives a number of leaders of security services and owners of exchange companies.
His Excellency the Governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, Mr. Ali Mohsen Ismail, received, yesterday, Thursday, a number of leaders of the security services and owners of exchange and mediation companies in the sale and purchase of foreign currency. His Excellency discussed ways of coordination and procedures between the central bank and the concerned agencies, and defining roles and tasks in light of the directives of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. During the meeting, the following was directed: the central bank is the sole authority responsible for monitoring and inspecting banks, exchange companies, and non-banking financial institutions licensed by the central bank, based on its law. The transfer of cash, in dinars and dollars, and any other currencies is permitted inside Iraq for all natural and legal persons, including banks, exchange companies, mediation companies in the sale and purchase of foreign currency, and their branches in all governorates. With the aim of preventing the exit of cash funds across the borders and ports, which exceed what is specified in the instructions of the central bank, $10,000, the competent security authorities follow up and inspect vehicles on the roads and paths leading to the borders to prevent smuggling and take legal measures in coordination with the central bank, while providing the bank the amounts of banknotes discovered and their serial numbers. Amounts sent from banks and companies to their branches are accompanied by documents from the sending party showing the details of the sender and the addressee, and they are submitted at the external control points upon request. Banks and companies shall notify the central bank in the event that they are subjected to procedures, inspection visits, or interference in their business by non-employees. The governor praised the role of the security authorities in uncovering attempts to smuggle dollars in the past days.
KRG reveals the agreed mechanism for sending the region's money from Baghdad.
A member of the Kurdistan Democratic Party, Wafa Muhammad Karim, revealed the most prominent results of the visit of the delegation of the Kurdistan region to Baghdad to discuss outstanding issues, most notably the legislation of the oil and gas law. Karim said in a press interview seen by Takadam that the delegation recently discussed with the Federal Ministry of Oil, the agreement to resolve the controversial points on the management of oil policy within the country as well as finding solutions to them in accordance with the constitution, and this is what was agreed upon before the formation of the Sudanese government in the meeting of the State Administration Coalition. Noting that, the agreement stipulated the legislation of the oil and gas law within a period of time of 6 months since the formation of the new government, and the delegation is still continuing its discussion with Baghdad. He added that, the preliminary results of the delegation's understandings with Baghdad revealed that advanced stages have been reached significantly towards the understanding on the oil and gas law, as the imports of selling oil in all countries will be in one basket and the administration will be joint, pointing out that the delegation also resolved the file of the region's share of the 2023 budget, where it was agreed to allocate 14% of the financial budget funds to Kurdistan. Regarding the mechanism for sending the funds allocated from Baghdad to the region within the 2023 budget, Karim said that, the talks between the delegation of Kurdistan and Baghdad ruled to send the money in the form of a financial loan until the completion of the legislation of the oil and gas law, given that the federal court issued its ruling to prevent the payment of financial payment to the region. It is worth noting that the Federal Supreme Court in Iraq issued a decision on the 25th of last January, canceling all government decisions related to the transfer of funds to the Kurdistan region.
All right, so as you guys saw, the part where they talk about how they've got to have the oil and gas law implemented and activated within a period of 6 months since the formation of the new government. Okay, the government was formed by the end of October, so you had November, December, January, February, March, April's your 6th month. That's the start of their brand new budget period, like I've always shared with you. That's why they're saying that when their new budget period gets implemented, they have to have this oil and gas law activated and implemented. Okay? So there you go. And that's, so even this, guys, this article right here is kind of clearly telling you that Iraq still, I just showed you earlier in this video, Iraq still has 126 laws to do. They have the entire budget. They told us they need a period of around 20 to 40 days to do the budget. 20 to 40 is an average of 30. Okay? So they at least need an average. It could go a little longer, but they need an average of 30 days. That's the whole month of March to do the budget, and they just told you 126 laws to get done. Part of that's the oil and gas one. They're telling you right here, these laws and the budget have to be done by the beginning of April. That's the implementation of their new budget period. Okay? So again, they need easily the full month of March for the budget and the laws. That's why I've said just using common sense. It makes the most sense for them because all this stuff, the laws and the budget, are waiting on the rate change and for their currency to be tradable and recognized around the world. So it makes sense for them to revalue the currency by the end of February. That way they have all of March to tackle the budget and the laws. Let's move forward. Okay. Parliamentarian warns against new legislating the oil and gas law. It causes major problems.
Zainab al-Musai, a member of the Said Akoun Bloc MP and a member of the Parliamentary Oil, Gas, and Natural Resources Committee, stressed on Friday the importance of legislating the federal oil and gas law, warning that its failure to pass it causes major problems. Al-Musai said in a press interview that the draft oil and gas law is important and will solve many issues. We in the Parliamentary Oil, Gas, and Natural Resources Committee confirm the enactment of the law, as its failure to pass it may cause major problems, especially with regard to the financial budget. Regarding the date of approving the project and turning it into a law, Al-Musai explained that, the adoption of the law is more related to politics than its oil competence, indicating that the political situation in the current fifth parliamentary session is very prepared for the approval of the oil and gas law, which is expected to be passed after the approval of the general financial budget for the year 2023. The issue of the draft oil and gas law will be resolved in the coming days. Becoming official law between the Kurdistan region and Baghdad. Al-Musai also indicated that what hinders the approval process is a political problem, not an administrative one, between Erbil and Baghdad, and that the existing political agreements between the two parties will solve this issue in the coming days, noting that there are no points of contention between Erbil and Baghdad on the draft law. There are simple differences that will be solved. Iraq is one and its oil is for all people. Al-Musa'i added, the existing system and the draft law will be approved by the House of Representatives, to be then addressed to the central government, and then all political agreements will be put on one table. Whether it is from the Kurdish brothers, Sunnis, or from Basra, all of them will sit at the same table to solve problems and approve the oil and gas law for the benefit of all sects of the Iraqi people.
Okay, you guys already saw this article a little earlier in this video. It's 5 new decisions from the central bank on the dollar. If you'd like to read this article, you're welcome to pause the video and read it right here. Moving forward. Secretary General of the Palestinian Council, Iraq is taking great steps to restore its role to the leadership of the Arab nation. Now, we have more on this. So this is this large Arab nation. It's kind of their neighboring brothers in the region, and they're having this large 2-day kind of Arab parliamentary gathering in Iraq right now. Let's cover this article. This is a chance where, because Iraq's rejoining the region, because Iraq's going and becoming international, this gives them a chance to show their regional brothers or regional brotherhood, okay, what they're doing. And this is, so like right now, this is the perfect time to really show off what they're doing and revalue the currency right in front of their neighboring brothers. Let's look at this article real quick.
The Speaker of the Arab Parliament, Adel Al-Asumi, confirmed today, Saturday, that the holding of the Arab Parliamentary Union Conference in Baghdad is evidence of the security and stability of Iraq. Al-Asumi said during a speech at the Arab Inter-Parliamentary Union Conference, "We affirm the Arab Parliament's keenness to cooperate with Iraq, and we value the great challenges that the Iraqi people faced, including terrorism and political challenges." He added, "The establishment of the Arab Parliamentary Union Conference in Baghdad is evidence of the security and stability of Iraq," noting that the Arab Parliament rejects any attacks on Iraq's sovereignty and interference in its internal affairs. And he added, "We appreciate the tripartite cooperation mechanism between Iraq, Jordan, and Egypt," stressing that a unified Iraq represents a strength for the Arab system, and it has been able to overcome many challenges.
Okay, guys, so this is a 2-day gathering where Iraq is. Remember, this has to do kind of with their tripartite summit they've drafted throughout the last few years too, between Iraq, Jordan, and Egypt. Okay, they're just, it's almost like they've invited these guys into the region. They're strong supporting neighbors and brothers, so that they could almost revalue the currency and that the step of them being restored back to the international community, that they brought them back into their country to witness Iraq doing this, is almost like what they did through this. Okay, but again, it's a 2-day deal. It shows you right here, Iraq, Jordan, and Egypt are involved. There's other parties involved though too. So here's another article kind of similar to the last one. Again, we're not going to cover every article, guys. Right here it says Halbusi. Again, it's an Arab parliamentary gathering. Right here, Halbusi, he's our Speaker of Parliament. He receives the President of the National Assembly from Algeria. The next one down is the Speaker of the Libyan House of Representatives, Speaker of the Yemeni House, UAE Federal National Council Speaker, Sukar Gabash. Al-Halbusi receives the Chairman of the Shura Council of Sultanate of Oman. Halbusi welcomes the heads of the Arab Parliament. Welcome to the brothers. The Association of Secretaries General of Arab Parliaments ends its 42nd meeting. Okay, so the 42nd meeting, this was on, it was in Baghdad on Friday evening. They said they ended it here, but I actually saw something where it lasted, that they said it was going to last 2 days. Okay, kind of Saturday and Sunday as well. So now here's another little interesting piece. Iraq has had a lot of concrete barricade structures up, okay, kind of blocking off the green zone, Baghdad, okay. They're now telling you they're preparing to remove those concrete barricades to open those up per the request of the Prime Minister. It talks about 90 days to implement the order. So I guess the PM recently implemented this order to remove the concrete blocks to open up Baghdad during the next summer, and they have a period of 90 days to do it according to the green highlights in the article. Okay, so it's almost like they're just trying to open up Baghdad back to the region in a way. Okay, get it all opened up, make people feel welcome there. So a lot of good stuff, guys. I want to just go back, though, and cover one critical article in this, guys. Give me a moment to find it here. This article was very critical for today. Right here, guys. This one has dates in it. It doesn't. So when they say like next Sunday, next whatever, there's no question. Doesn't mean the very next one or the following one. There's no question on that. They give hard dates in this. And again, whether it's Sunday versus Monday, I showed you one yesterday or a day or two ago, whatever. Actually, it was yesterday morning. I showed you two that said they would be meeting on Sunday morning to draft the oil and gas law. I showed you two of those saying Sunday morning. Right here, they give you a date and they're telling you Monday and Tuesday they will remain in Iraq, and they give a date of February 27th. So there's no question to full on draft the oil and gas law, guys. In order to draft it, again, that means they have to know all the numbers to draft it. They now have to know their budget amounts. So again, they can't even do this till, again, after the rate has changed, till they know the numbers they're working with. Because this is where they're giving money back to the citizens, a percentage of the budget. So they have to know all the budget numbers so they know how much money to allocate and reserve for this. Okay? So this is 100% contingent upon waiting till after the rate has changed. And if this article's truthful, they have to change the rate this weekend. You guys are the best. Thank you for joining me, and have a great day.